Hey, good morning, options traders, and happy Friday once again. Can't believe it's Friday already, but I wanted to post this video in response, a little bit of a follow-on to a question that one of our traders asked earlier in the week. And he said, I've heard about this level 2 thing, and will level 2 quotes help you to make money? Well, the whole level 2, I call it a marketing gimmick, really started back in the mid-90s, and I can remember even TV ads all talking about, we'll give you access to level 2 if you open up an account with 25,000 or more and all of this stuff. Everybody wants the free money tool, and they all thought it was level 2. Now, you're still hearing some people talking about level 2 and the benefits of level 2, and they're just not there. Why is that? Well, let's go find out. And as always, before we do, please be sure to click like and subscribe. Very much appreciated and helps to promote the channel. So first of all, when we talk about a quote, when you're looking at your broker's platform, you're just going to see something like this, a bid and an offer. Let's say that these are options. It might show a bid of 350 and an asking price of 360. The bid, of course, is the highest price that somebody is willing to pay right now. The asking price is the lowest price at which somebody's willing to sell. And that means you, as a retail trader, could come in here and say, well, if I want to buy, you could currently buy at 360 because that's a seller. And you know that you could also sell right now for 350 because that's a buyer. And this is just called level 1 or the inside quote. However, at any moment in time, these aren't the only quotes available. They're just the only ones that most brokerage platforms show. If you look at level 2, you're looking, you might think of it kind of behind the curtains. Who else is in these quotes here? Who's the next highest bidder and then the next highest? Who's the next lowest offer and then the next lowest, and so on? And if we were able to do that, we would see something like this. So once again, here's our inside quote, but they're not the only people placing orders. We have other people out here. We have other bidders. We have other people placing offers. It's just that this person happens to be the highest bidder. That's how his quote is getting shown there. This person just happens to be the lowest offer, and that's how his quote is getting shown there. But again, that there are other people. We can see somebody else is saying, well, I'm not willing to pay 350, but I'll go 345. Somebody else has a limit order on the book. I'm not willing to pay 345, but I'll pay 340. So they're just getting stacked in order on a computer program. Over here, the opposite is happening. Somebody is willing to sell for 360. Somebody says, well, I'll sell for 365, 370. So remember that the markets are really at any moment in time only concerned with who is willing to pay the most, that's our highest bidder, and who is willing to sell for the least, that's our lowest offer. But again, that doesn't mean that that's everybody who's placing orders. And so this type of a layout is called level 2. Now, you will see another pair of numbers on most platforms called the size. So in this example, it would be 5 by 3. It's always a pair of numbers. The first number corresponds to the bid, and the second number corresponds to the asking price. And what it shows, with these numbers right here, it shows that this person's order is to buy at a price of 350, but for 5 contracts. This person's order is to sell for 360, but for only 3 contracts. So you can quickly see, yes, somebody's willing to pay 350 and somebody's willing to sell for 360, but only these number of contracts. Now, if these were shares of stock, they do them in 100 share lots, so that would actually be 500 shares and 300 shares. But in the options market, they're just the straight up number of contracts. So the thing that people are trying to get a handle on with level 2 is they'll look at this and they'll say, well, we have more buyers than sellers, and therefore the price should rise. This is kind of the inside scoop that these people are trying to find with level 2. So they place orders and go, oh, let me buy, and I can catch this little wave as prices rise. Because they must, because we have more buyers than sellers. Well, that's sort of true, but it's only at this moment. 1 second from now, this could go 2 by 40. It's going to flip, and we'll look at that in just a moment, super, super fast. So you're never going to be able to get a read on it. Now, there's another problem, and that is with special orders. There's lots of different ones, but 2 in particular is called a hidden order, and then there's also a sweep order. Now, hidden order just simply isn't shown. But a sweep order sweeps it into pieces, and it does it for this very reason, so that trader is not really kind of showing his whole hand to the market. So for instance, let's say that you wanted to sell 10,000 shares, and you run a platform such as ETrade or Thinkorswim that will let you do this, and you say, I want to sweep it in 500 share lots. So what it's going to do is it recognizes that you have a total sell of 10,000, so it's going to sweep 500 into the market. And the market is only going to see 500. Now, of course, the computer program realizes that you have 9,500 shares remaining. This should really be the number that you're looking at. This is what you're after. How much true selling pressure is in there, but you're not going to see it. And so once this order executes, what happens? It sweeps another 500, and then the computer says, okay, now you only have 9,000 shares remaining. So you might be seeing on the sell side that there's a size of 5, which remember is in 100 share lots, so that's really 500 shares, but it's really much bigger than that. And so that's another problem that you have with level 2. You don't really know what you're looking at because there's so many different types of advanced or special orders that can mask these. So let's go over to ETrade and Thinkorswim and take a look at level 2. Okay, so now we're into ETrade first. And for ETrade, you're going to go over here to the quote tab. And then over on the far right, you'll have to grab your scroll bar and slide right down here. Some platforms call it a depth view, which makes sense. You're seeing how deep these market quotes are. Now, ETrade also allows you from this drop-down menu to choose total. So now it's saying that there's a size of 66 on the bid. There's a size of, you can see how quickly they're moving, size of 13 right there on the ask, regardless of which exchange it's coming from. If you go to all, it is going to show the individual exchanges. But the thing that I wanted to show you, for instance, look at this exchange coming from a size of, it's really hard to see, size of 3, 15, 23, and that's a bid of 49.74. Look at the asking, 49.76 right now, size of, see, it's really hard to get a fix on it coming from this exchange. But look at how quickly it's changing. I mean, if you think that, let's see if we can try to capture one here, 25 by 3. Looks like more buyers than sellers. And then in 1 second later, it was just 8 by 24. I mean, it changes so quickly. So if you think that you can watch these numbers and see how the supply and demand is stacking up and try to jump in there, remember, you'd have to get executed ahead of these people as well. You'd have to match those bids or offers, get executed, and then hope that that trend is, in fact, intact. That's going to be far more luck. But if you think that can help you by looking at these numbers, you're free to do it, but I can tell you, you will quickly arrive at the right conclusion that level 2 is simply not going to offer a single bit of help. Let's jump over to Thinkorswim and take a look at level 2 there. All right, for those traders on Thinkorswim, you're going to go to the Trade tab, and right here, this little tab that's hiding, it says Trade Grid. That little angle bracket, you're going to click it, and it expands. There's all kinds of layouts that we can do. But right here is level 2. And right here is the bid and the offer and the size. You can see there's the quote buy 2, which means for 200 shares, buy 1 for 100 shares. So we have 200 shares being bid for, 100 shares being offered, which might give you the impression that there's more buyers than sellers, and it's just going to quickly change. Now, in this case, I mean, look at NVIDIA is up almost $5 for the day. Yeah, it is possible you're going to see more buyers than sellers, but then you have to say, is that really level 2 helping you, or is that just the overall market trend? But down here, you can see here's Arca, Archipelago, and EdgeX, and it's just showing the individual bids, the bid sizes. Here's the individual offers and the offer sizes. Now in Thinkorswim, they don't seem to change quite as rapidly. I believe that Thinkorswim delays. They only go in with a snapshot every so often. And I think part of the reason is just that, because otherwise you just can't even track the numbers. But what we saw on ETrade was far more realistic about why you're just not going to be able to capture the supply and demand differences. See here, it might give you the illusion that it's happening, but remember how quickly it was really happening when it's in real time. So level 2 is really just a tool. About the only thing that's really good for is to find out how quickly the prices level off. So if you wanted to place a really big order, and you could say, all right, if I place this order and I get all of these shares and I have to drop down to the next row and then the next, what are the prices that I'm likely to receive? See here, I've got 131.41 for 900 shares. Then I might get filled at 131.34 and then 131.33. Of course, there's a real good chance that a market maker is going to step in and fill either at that first price or somewhere in between. But in the worst case, it at least gives you a feel for how rapidly these numbers fall. But aside from that, forget about using level 2 as a way to gain an edge for making money. And for anyone who'd like to learn more about the art and science of options trading, please check out the Alpha Trader course, Strategy Lab, and a technical analysis course. It's all at optionsatoz.com. Also, please join us on Options A to Z's Facebook trading group, and you can find a link in the description below.